questions for us, whether it be Jacqueline, myself, or the speakers, please feel free to type them in the chat. We will be monitoring that. This session, as you heard, is being recorded and the transcription is available through Zoom. Before we begin, I want to let you know that the views and policies of this presentation are those of the authors and not necessarily those of SAMHSA or HHS. That said, I'd like to pass it over to our speakers, Christine Brambilla, Latasha Lee, and Josh Carlson.
Thank you, Monica. Welcome, everyone. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Latasha Lee, here with Josh and Christine Brambilla. So you guys may wonder, what's the inspiration beyond this presentation? The inspiration for this presentation is derived from the opportunity to be able to share collaborative, diverse, and informative and intentional multimedia that helps others to understand infant, early childhood mental health consultation and to increase overall awareness of consultation within the state of Illinois. I would like to mention that the Governor's Office of Early Childhood Development did sunset on September 30th. The exciting news is that Governor Pritzker signed an executive order last week to create a unified early childhood state agency to house all early childhood programs and funding. So that is something that is in the works. Next slide, please. You'll see here our infant and early childhood mental health consultation public and raising awareness campaign. The reasoning behind this was to provide an opportunity for understanding and visualizations of infant early childhood mental health consultation in action, to understand what it is not, and to provide access to services and resources, and to raise overall awareness. So you'll see here, Christine will play one of our videos.
A child develops within the context of their family and the community, and the family thrives within its support systems. When those systems are tested, pushed to their limits, early learning experiences can be disrupted or delayed. That's why it's essential for early childhood educators, home visitors, parents, guardians, and other caregivers to connect with resources proven to support children's growth and development, building a foundation that lasts a lifetime. Infant and early childhood mental health consultation supports those connections. Before we go deeper into what consultation is, let's clarify what it isn't. Mental health consultation is not therapy, and it's not limited to interactions with young children. Consultation works by connecting educational staff, home visitors, and early childhood professionals with specially trained mental health consultants. Consultants provide training, a reflective space, and connections to community resources designed to help define and achieve goals together. Infants and young children develop social skills and positive ways to express emotions and experience fewer challenging behaviors, suspensions, and expulsions. Families, educators, and home visitors build healthier relationships with children with less stress, burnout, and turnover. Consultation connects with children in programs where they learn, grow, and play.
I think the real benefit for children is that they have staff who are feeling emotionally and socially supported themselves, and that transfers to the children, to positive relationships with their peers and with the adults that are taking care of them.
State-funded preschool programs with access to consultation services reported nearly half the number of expulsions compared to programs without access to those services. For a closer look at how infant and early childhood mental health consultation can support your organization, please visit our website. You'll discover how consultation can provide a place to reflect on your approach to supporting social and emotional well-being within early learning environments, individually, in a team setting, or both. Review and support observations, screenings, and assessments, and offer professional development opportunities. And when you're ready to connect, visit the Gateways to Opportunity Mental Health Consultation database to find a consultant in your community. Support is available in several languages across the state of Illinois.
La Consultoría de Salud Mental Infantil y de Primera Infancia conecta profesionales con adultos que interactúan con bebés y niños pequeños en una variedad de entornos. La Consultoría de Salud Mental no es una terapia y no se limita a interacciones con niños pequeños. Los consultores ofrecen formación, un espacio de reflexión y conexiones con recursos de la comunidad que allanan el camino hacia mejores resultados. Para mayor información, visite nuestro sitio web.
Well, we would like to ask you to join us in kind of engaging with us as we do our presentation this afternoon by going to slido.com and entering in that code 1172023, or you can use your phone and use the QR code reader on it to be able to take you directly to that. We have a couple questions we're going to ask you so we can have an idea of who is here with us today and what environments you participate in with infant and early childhood mental health consultation. So first, we want to ask you who is in the room with us today. So please go to slido.com, enter that code, or use your QR code reader on your phone, and you can enter that in now. Okay, we only have about half of our participants, so maybe just wait another 5-10 seconds to give people a moment. All right, looks like most of us are in program leadership, and the next group, largest group, is mental health consultants, state agency leaders, philanthropic individuals, and training and technical assistance providers. So thank you. We can go to the next slide. And our second question is what system is infant and early childhood mental health consultation embedded in your state? So looking at, is it in childcare, early intervention, family childcare, Head Start, preschool, or other? give us a few more seconds to get folks an opportunity to enter their answers. All right, well, thank you. It looks like overwhelmingly most are in childcare and home visiting programs, with early intervention, preschool, and Head Start coming in after that. And then kind of to what I'm going to be talking a little bit later about family childcare. We'll kind of speak to, it's an environment that consultation is not in very much, and something that we are focusing on in one of our programs here in Illinois.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Latasha, for that. So as we delve into, I know we kind of gave you the sneak peek of what our video campaign is, but we also wanted to slow it down and then kind of hook you in the beginning, but then also help provide the why and the context. So the why, this campaign really was inspired by some of the formative research by Dr. Kate Zinsser out of UIC, the University of Illinois at Chicago. And in Illinois, we have the Illinois Early Childhood Expulsion Law, and one of the co-authors, Ellie Lowe Photos, I saw was in the room as well. And it has been known as one of the most expansive pieces of early childhood expulsion legislation that has been passed in the nation. And what this law seeks to really do is to not only focus on preschool settings, but really think about the comprehensive settings that young children experience their first learning experiences, and to provide that kind of accountability, but thinking about ending the exclusionary discipline practices in any publicly funded or state licensed early childhood programs serving children between the ages of birth to age 5. What was noticeable about this research was that we found that home-based programs in the sample expelled children more than 10 times the rate of center-based programs and transitioned them out at over 5 times the rate. We also do want to fully acknowledge that with home-based providers, they hold on to children the longest amount of time before transitioning them, and they often have, young children have often had other early childhood experiences before they enter into home-based provider settings. What was also really interesting about this report was that 40% of the respondents that have never heard of mental health consultation had made at least one exclusion during the same year. And so with that inspired this Raising Awareness campaign, and really thinking about how we can really get the word out there about infant and early childhood mental health consultation in Illinois. So with this slide, we really wanted to share our vision here in Illinois, that when it comes to the infant and early childhood mental health system, we really think about investments across the continuum, from as early as promotion, prevention, intervention, and treatment. And so for us, it was really interesting to learn which systems infant and early childhood mental health consultation is embedded in, because this is a national conference and not all states have made the same investment in mental health consultation. And so really thinking about those systems of supports that have some influence with thinking about promoting early relational health, and really thinking about the vast majority of professionals that are able to provide that stable, secure, and nurturing adult relationship in their young children's lives. And then also thinking about, depending on the model of mental health consultation, if we were just to invest heavily in early childhood clinicians, that's an important step. And when we think about the amount of time that early childhood mental health clinicians are able to spend with children on a weekly basis, that's 1 hour out of the week, maybe every other week. When you think about the amount of time that maybe home visiting professionals, early childhood education professionals, thinking about Head Start teachers, when you think about family support specialists, and the amount of time and early interventionists that interact with young children and the important adults around them, you think about all these other opportunities to promote that early relational health and really center on the children. And in Illinois, we also believe that infant and early childhood mental health consultation doesn't just belong to one discipline, that if you work on or behalf of very young children and their families, you have a role to play in promoting infant and early childhood mental health. So with that, and in Illinois, we were able to, I also wanted to take it back to share a little bit more about how Illinois came to where it is. So Illinois has had a long-standing history of investment, whether it's early childhood professionals, thinking about the advocacy sector, thinking about financial support from philanthropy, but also thinking about individuals that were at key state agency positions that have had a long-standing investment in promoting infant and early childhood mental health consultation. And it's because of those long-standing champions, some of which you'll see on this slide, the majority of them that you'll see on this slide, having the mental health consultation, they really provided this foundation and advocacy for the infant and early childhood mental health consultation program manager position that was nested within the former governor's office of early childhood development. And also, as a point of history, I was the original program manager, but then also Latasha took over that role when I transitioned to my current role in philanthropy. But as you can see, it's not just one sector that really made this happen. It really was a culmination of efforts from the early childhood advocates, philanthropy, the infant early childhood mental health consultation leadership team, which is a public-private partnership, the Head Start Association, the Early Learning Council, Parent Advisory Council, and it was really this culmination of the stars aligning, and we were able to continue to build on that long-standing foundation in Illinois. So with that, this campaign was really inspired we received this money from the COVID Relief CARES Act. So it more specifically came from the governor's emergency education relief funding to support that position. As I mentioned previously, the infant and early childhood mental health consultation manager position within the governor's office of early childhood development. There was also a communication and dissemination coordinator. The state of Illinois was able to double the infant and early childhood mental health consultation that was funded for specifically the child care workforce. There was also an increase in training and technical assistance in the mental health consultation workforce. And this also created a unique opportunity to fund the Raising Awareness campaigns. And again, we heard from multiple state agency leaders about the impact of burnout on early childhood educators, really thinking about how do we respond to the impact of COVID on young children, as well as supporting the adults as they experience significant amount of time nurturing the love of learning, but then also serving as a key co-regulator for children during arguably one of the most stressful times that we've experienced in recent history. So with that, we created a library of 16 one-pagers. And so these one-pagers, if you can see on the slide, I'm sorry, it's really small, but we had to try and capture the 16 one-page titles for you. The vast majority of the one-pagers are made for diverse audiences. So there is no one-pager that will represent the entirety of Illinois. We really wanted to cater to the various audiences and understanding the unique messaging high level points for school administrators such as superintendents. It's going to look a little bit different for parents. It's going to look a little bit different for family child care providers, and also thinking about social emotional consultants and how they approach the messaging and interaction within the system of early intervention, and thinking about home visitors, Head Start professionals, and also thinking about promoting the different parts of the infant and early childhood mental health consultation system in Illinois. So this library of 16 one-pagers, we translated them in the top 5 non-English spoken languages in households in Illinois that have children under the age of 5. And so for the purpose of this campaign, we translated them into Spanish, Polish, Chinese, traditional and simplified, Arabic, and Russian. And then some of the other key items that you'll see in this one-pager library is that we really try to be intentional with some of those images at the top of each of the one-pagers. So you'll see these screenshots of, for example, the one on the lower left-hand center, lower left half visual, that's in Polish. And so that shows a picture of a teacher in a classroom-like setting. But then on the top right, you'll see the picture of a man that looks of Asian descent, snuggling closely with a young infant that also has tattoos. So when we think about this representation in this campaign, we really didn't just want to stick to one message or one visual to convey. And even in the prior visual, you saw a young child blowing bubbles, and that child could have appeared to be an individual with Down syndrome. So we wanted to try and think about what are the different ways that we would want to represent some of the populations, not only thinking about topic areas, but also the visual representation of those partners. And so when we were creating these foundational documents, we wanted to blend the deep clinical knowledge and expertise, but we also didn't want to get stuck in the jargon that might lose some of our key messaging and attention span of some of the stakeholders we're trying to support. Similarly, we also had feedback from the audiences. For example, Josh had a member on his team, a mental health consultant that was a former family child care professional, and so she provided feedback. We also had a focus group with the Family Child Care Network that provided feedback on some of these one-pagers specific to the topic with family child care providers. We also had provided an opportunity for the Family Advisory Council to respond to some of the language. Did it make sense? What did they need to know about mental health consultation? And we had them respond a couple of times. So it wasn't, here's the final product, thumbs up. What do you think? Does it make sense? Is it something that's useful? But we really took back their feedback and gave them something else of the finished product to show them that we were really responding and hearing to what they were saying with the creation of these one-pagers. We also had various individuals and stakeholders from the early intervention, key stakeholders, as well as the mental health consultation statewide leadership team. And so when we think about this, we really took it to heart about the value of representation, thinking about diverse professionals, diverse settings, ages, promoting dads, promoting males, thinking about representing children with disabilities as well. So with that, I will transition to the next slide. Latasha, do you want to set us up for this slide?
Sure. Thank you, Christine. The next slide, Christine will show you guys the day in the life of an actual infant early childhood mental health consultant, so you can kind of understand and see. And we wanted the actual providers who are interested in this programming of consultation to be able to see what it actually looks like in the clinical setting, at a daycare center. What's the day in the life of a consultant?
My name is Ben Goldberger. I am the Assistant Director at Virginia Frank Child Development Center of JCFS Chicago. Virginia Frank has a robust mental health consultant program, and there was a spot open at Howard Area Community Center, which I got to fill as the mental health consultant. Typical day, I arrive around 9 o'clock, I settle in, I check in with the family support workers first. Usually I talk with them about a child that I might be doing an individual observation for, or a meeting with the family, or just anything of concern for that day that we need to focus on. I may have an idea of what I'm going to do, but they may tell me otherwise. At that point, I have to shift gears and set my day according to their needs.
The mental health consultant is working with our family support workers, is working with the families, so that all three of us are working together and are on the same page in order to support the children in the classroom and then have better outcomes. Having our mental health consultant be readily accessible to them just allows them to stop in the middle of the hallway and just share something or just say whatever might be on their mind.
There's a regular rotation of classrooms that I observe. I come in, I say hello, I check in with the teachers. The kids are always going to have a reaction that somebody new is there, so we work through that, the attention being on me, and then I go and sit in the corner and observe. What I'm watching for is the general atmosphere, so what do the teachers convey? I also watch for how the teachers engage the children during circle time, how they adjust to different children's needs based on their ability to learn, to sit still, sort of play well with others. I also watch for how the teachers handle transitions and how they respond to challenging behavior in the classroom as well. But basically, I'm a fly on the wall taking notes. And then later, we have a teacher feedback session. And that's where we explore my observations.
Well, one thing that we do try to explain to families from the get-go is that Ben is here. You know, he's part of our center. That person becomes a familiar face to them. And so when we do have to move to an individual consultation, it is not so scary for the families.
Some parents have initially been reluctant to have an individual observation or to engage with me in feedbacks, and that's understandable. Maybe that's been what their experience has been. The important thing to do is to develop that relationship right where they're at and speaking to their concerns directly about what they perceive me to be.
And so that, I would say, has helped in them being a little bit more receptive because they know who he is. They know that he's really there to ensure that we're providing the best environment that we can for their children and that we are really there trying to foster their social emotional development.
And then at the end of the day, what I'm doing is kind of circling back to the teachers or circling back to the staff and just making sure that we covered everything, that we addressed whatever concerns they had, whether it's relating to an individual observation or issues that they want to address in the classroom or whatever it might be. Working with the kids, that's the best part for me personally, is walking into a classroom and having 4 little people run up. To me, that's the real payoff every day. Also, I would say the relationships with the staff and the teachers and helping mobilize their community and just being a part of that is really gratifying for me. We're able to create a stronger school environment, improve the quality of classroom experience, both for children and teachers, and making all of the services that the school provides better and better. It's something that's totally unique. I have 12 years in the field as a social worker, and I've never experienced anything like this, and I absolutely love it.
To learn more, please visit our website.
Thank you, Christine, for sharing the video. If you guys can think about what stood out to you, what's most notable in those videos. We wanted to make sure that we were able to describe what consultation actually looks like, because it's really hard to know and understand consultation unless you're involved in it. So if you would like to provide us any feedback, that would be great. And that feedback can be done on the word cloud. And if anyone want to come off mute and give a couple of examples, if you're having a problem accessing the word cloud, we will welcome that as well. Well, as we see, relationships, which is the foundation of our being, in addition to our work, is the number one: familiarity, supporting, consistency, focus, communication, attuned, together, joy. I like that. A reminder of how excited I am to be doing this work. Great. Thank you. So as a part of our dissemination efforts, we were able to share this information, the videos, the one-pagers. I was able to share part of the information during a soft launch at the Illinois Head Start Association Conference. So we did a soft launch in early March of 23. Other ways we were able to disseminate the information: we did a vast email blast. We were able to share this amazing work, and we're intentional about being able to share with our community partners, our public and private partners. In addition to Illinois currently has a Birth to 5 Action Council, and in that Action Council, that consists of family councils and action councils within 39 regions of the state, so placed directly within the community, and that includes parents, family service providers, educators, businesses, advocates, who are tasked with identifying the service needs in each region. Information that's gathered by those councils will be provided to the state to determine what the families need to thrive, therefore creating new and enhanced services, as well as informing policy around birth to 5 programs. So we were able to actually disseminate the information. I was at a conference last week. They were able to kind of pass out some of the handouts and continue to share the printed materials, in addition to as we're sharing here on a national level. Now I'll turn it over to Josh.
So as part of Caregiver Connections, one of the things that we really wanted to do as part of not only increasing our workforce, but looking at equity issues. And one of the first things that we did was look at how can we meet the needs of individuals throughout the state who speak a different language than the primary language of English. And so knowing that the governor's office of early childhood was going to be putting out these informational pages, we did work and look at different providers to help us with interpretation services. And so we were able to engage with Proprio, and now we have access to translators and interpretation services for over 300 languages. Partly, beginning with that first step of an intake, if we get somebody who needs to gain additional information about what services we provide and how to get them, but also for consultants out in the field being able to offer those services through interpretation with our mental health consultants. And then also looking at if there's any forms or any things that we need, we can also access them to be able to provide our forms, like a pre-service survey, for example, in a language that is in alignment with the language that's their preferred language. Next slide, please. So as Caregiver Connections, which is a program from CHADOC, through CHADOC, that is funded by DHS, and we partner with subcontracting agencies throughout the state to provide infant and early childhood mental health consultation. And as part of our growth in that process, again, as I mentioned, we wanted to look at equity issues. And so our primary focus for Caregiver Connections is for child care centers throughout the state. And so we wanted to do two things as we were trying to identify populations that might need additional support than what we were already doing. And so two populations that we identified that we felt we identified as an area for growth for our program. The first one was focused on the children of the providers that are in centers, which is youth in care. Knowing that they are obviously, because they're in care, that they have experienced some kind of event that has removed them from a home to put them into a foster placement or another placement of some sort. And there is trauma exposure, neglect or abuse, or some other kind of experience that has been more than likely very challenging for them. And so recognizing that with those challenges may come challenging behaviors for providers, we wanted to try to focus on that particular population as a program. That has been challenging, and that, one of everything from consent for release of information or changes in placements. Now they're in this, they're in this foster home and with this provider. Well, they not only, maybe they didn't disrupt their childcare provider, but their placement disrupted. And so now they're with this placement. And because of that, now they've changed childcare providers, which may be in a different SDA. It might be a service delivery area. And so there has been a lot of inherent challenges with targeting that group. We're not giving up, but that has been, there's a reason why that needs extra attention by our program and by our state. The other one was more focused on the adults, which obviously infant and early childhood mental health consultation is a preventative service that's really focused on building the capacity within the adults that serve kids. And so we really identified working with family child care centers as an initiative or an area, again, that we saw as a growth opportunity for our program. Noted in some of the research that Christine mentioned earlier, but also in the survey at the very beginning of this presentation, noting that that was one of the areas or environments that was lowest rated in this very simple survey. Next slide. So with that, some things that we attempted to do is to have some additional outreach efforts in working and connecting with family child care centers. And that started with doing some focus groups. We worked with Christine to try to work with some family child care associations in the state to gain a better understanding of what are some of the unique challenges that they're facing, and how might we meet those needs to help address those pain points. One thing that we did in an effort to build relationships and connect with family child care centers is offer circle of security training throughout the state. And we actually offered stipends to providers to be able to come in and attend. One of the challenges of being a family child care center is if kids aren't in your center, you don't have revenue coming in. And so, when we ask family child care centers to come to our trainings, they may be losing out on revenue. And so we wanted to provide an opportunity for them to get a very important and foundational training of circle of security, but also an opportunity to step away and connect with other family child care providers, meet their local area mental health consultant, develop a connection and a relationship. And then with that, we recognize that there's a difference as an infant mental health consultant going into a provider's building versus a family child care center's home. There's a different level of vulnerability. There's a different level of familiarity that comes with that than if I'm going into a center that has 5-6 classrooms versus my home. And so the other piece of this was to try to build relationships and connection. Just as, we identified relationships as one of the important things from those videos, that we wanted to develop a relationship, a rapport between the consultants and family child care providers in their service delivery area through this training opportunity of circle of security, knowing it's a longer training of about 8 hours over 2-hour sessions over a couple days that really gave them opportunity to meet that consultant, work with that consultant, see what that consultant has the ability to support them in their family child care center. So thank you from Christine, Latasha, and myself. We really enjoy this opportunity to share what we have been doing here in Illinois in our different roles here in the state. And this has been an honor to share the hard work that we've been doing over the last 12, 24, 36 months, maybe somewhere in there. It kind of all blurs, COVID time kind of blurs the timeline, but really thankful to have the opportunity. So I guess we can open up and see if there's any questions, or Christine and Latasha, if there's anything else that you would like to say.
Mm-hmm. And thank you so much, Josh, for taking us home. So at this point, we open it up for questions that you may have, and we'll do our best to provide answers to your questions that you may have. We're so grateful and thank you for your time, participation, engagement. Please feel free to ask us questions. We can drop a link in the chat for the webpage for the Governor's Office of Early Childhood Development, where you can access these materials, the one-pagers, the videos, use them in training, in graduate school courses, professional development, when you're engaging with potential providers. We really wanted it to help visualize the experience of mental health consultation, and we hope that something in this Raising Awareness campaign resonated with you and will help inform your position, influence, and support of mental health consultation.
If there aren't any questions, I would just like to say and add on, Christine, there's a one-page or two that discuss infant early childhood mental health consultation as a career, as we try to help diversify the workforce. So that's another one of the one-pagers that we were intentional about creating.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for your response. And Nicole, you're very welcome for your efforts. This was definitely a labor of love. And if you would like to come off of chat, off of mute, we'd love to hear from you as well. Hi, Eva. Feel free to join us and share your feedback.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Hi, friends in Illinois. Just so always so proud of the ways you keep moving this work forward. I loved what you were saying about family childcare providers. And my question is also, what have you noticed or what have you done in terms of supporting consultants to learn the nature or the culture of family childcare? Because it isn't, it's not a center. And just really wondering, that's a big kind of gap in our infrastructure. Professional development is helping consultants understand what those settings are like and how consultation might look a little bit different.
Yeah, no, great question. So we have been seeking out technical assistance from the Center of Excellence, as well as bringing in different presenters to help consultants learn and think and reflect about the different needs of family child care centers versus a traditional provider, agency provider. So definitely have been working to help support their professional growth and development and understanding.
Yeah, and I know Juliet Brommer is right there at Erickson. Have you connected with her and the work that she does with the Family Child Care Network?
I am not sure if we've connected directly with her, but I would certainly welcome that if that's an opportunity for us to connect.
Yeah, just curious. You've got a wonderful resource in your backyard too. Yeah. Thanks for that, Josh. Thanks.
Absolutely.
And Eva, the only other thing I would add to that too is because of Julia Brommer's research, that's what made us go back to the family child care networks. And that's what inspired our focus groups. And that's where we kind of recruited from. And so Josh, as he mentioned, he has mental health consultants that are kind of positioned or have deep relationships in different parts of the state of Illinois. And so there's some family child care networks that are regional based. And so based on that geography, that helps to give a starting point to facilitate that connection and relationship. And then also our local child care resource and referral agencies. So it's not just one rockstar presentation. It's really having those ongoing, consistent relationships, showing face, being at the community festivals, and asking the family child care providers what they need from mental health consultants, as opposed to us telling them what they need.
Yes, so, I love it. Love it so much.
How we went back and forth and are trying to bridge that relationship.
Yeah, I think it's great. I always appreciate how you all leverage different systems and networks in your work. It's really great. Thank you.
Christine, Josh, and Latasha, thank you so much for your presentation today. We are so grateful for your time, and we look forward to seeing you in our other sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.